I have the privilege of being Larry's elder son. Unfortunately, most of my immediate family, as you might have heard, is from back in New York State, so they were not able to be with us here today. But my uncles, my brother, my mother, and my aunts are all here with us in spirit. We're here to reflect on the man who Larry was. Before I start in earnest, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you, the community that he made his home. Your help and support, the outpouring that we've received during this difficult time has bolstered us and given us strength. I'm very much a city boy. I grew up very rural. I grew up in a small town, but in adulthood, I've been a city boy. But if I wanted to move to a small community, this would be the one. It's just beautiful. You're amazing people. Thank you. Who was Dr. Larry Hogan? I'll give you a hint. It was right there in just what I said. To properly communicate and convey the man my father was, you first have to talk about Larry Hogan, the healer. He honestly and truly loved caring for others and giving of himself for them. He sacrificed for others. No matter how small or how large the problem was, he would be there. That's just who he was. That was fundamentally just the biggest part of him. He changed lives. He really did. In some cases, he even saved lives. People might not necessarily think that chiropractic medicine can save lives. As someone who grew up in the service of a chiropractor, I can tell you that's simply not true. I don't have to look any further than over there to Karen to see a woman whose life he saved. His compassion, his altruism, and his genuine interest in lives of people carried into nature as well. He was a conservationist. That's a big movement back in the Northeast. We're from the Adirondack Park, which is a beautiful scenery. Nothing like this. You guys have the big mountains, we got the good trees. He genuinely believed that humanity should be the stewards, guardians, and shepherds of this earth. And this is going to tie back into the obituary, but when we were living in Cordova, Alaska, that's where I was born. It's a very small coastal fishing village on Prince William Sound on the southern edge of Alaska. When the Exxon Valdez spill happened, he volunteered himself and his time free of charge. He took economic and emotional hardship simply to help out because that's what he felt he needed to do for the world. He also came home months later with a massive beard that just absolutely terrified me. I had never seen him with a beard, and I was 5 or 6 years old. He chased me around the house for a week. Sticking to nature, one of his favorite hobbies was bird watching. He was always very easy to buy gifts for growing up because there was always another bird book or guide or journal that he didn't have. There's a rack, there's just a bookshelf back home in New York that is literally crammed with and he loved them all. He knew them all. From the smallest finch to the largest bird of prey, he was just awestruck by the majesty of birds. His love of nature also fed into his personality and being in another way. It's what I think drove him to be such a tremendous athlete. I know you guys knew him for a short time, but throughout much of his life, he was a tremendously physical human being. He would bike hundreds of miles a day and thousands of miles every year. I was scandalized as a teenager, growing up in my small town of Old Forge, New York, seeing my dad in a Hawaiian shirt, spandex pants, rollerblading with his friends down the street. It was the 90s. I got over it. His good health throughout life also aided him in one of his greatest passions, music and song. Many of you were lucky enough to hear Larry's voice before he became too weak to do the thing he loved so much. All of the brothers, Wayne, Michael, Larry, they were musicians. They used to sing for us when we'd get together in family gatherings at a place called Alexandria Bay, which is where his final remains are going. That's where our family is. That's our place. And it was just amazing. It would take me somewhere special. It's something that's very rare nowadays in humanity, that you have a family that sings together and sings for the other members of it. And it was was really, to me, it changed my life. It really did. I didn't notice that until I was old enough to be self-aware as a person, obviously, because who is self-aware at that age? But it changed my life. It really did. He also performed in community events. Jared knows all about that. Trevor knows all about that. They took music with them wherever they went. If there wasn't music there, they would take it and they would make it be there. They formed groups in places where there formerly was no choir. There was no organized community group, and they would make that group. So now they would join their voices to those who privately had none. They traveled all around the country doing that, or at least by country I mean the literal country. Excuse me. Need to be specific. So, talking about church choirs, I would be doing my father a disservice if I did not tell you all just how much faith and religion meant to him. He didn't find it early in his life. It took the death of a vibrant, beautiful woman that was a second mother to me, Gail Ball. And when it clicked to him, it made him so happy because he realized that not only could he help people as a medical practitioner, as a physician, as a healer, he could administer to people's souls as well. He was nigh constantly a deacon at the Presbyterian church we attended growing up, and often conscripted me into assisting with events, which I didn't mind because I was a teenager, and the cool thing about church is there's always pretty girls with skirts. He was just always there. That was part of him. You would never go to anything and not see him being a figure there. I want to talk finally about the man. Above and beyond all those things, who was my father? Who was Doc? My father was a complex and nuanced person. He was a very private person, and he was capable of great humor and great exasperation, as this lovely picture can demonstrate to you folks. We love this picture because you know when you get this look, honestly. He would tell amazing stories. He would tell stories such that you thought you were there. The language he used and the power that he would put into his voice was uncanny. He just had that gift that he could transport you there. And you almost always believed they were true. Sometimes they weren't. He made you a part of that place, that time. And personally, my father was a great man. I know I'm a little biased. I understand that. But I hope here, in what I'm telling you, you get to see, even over the course of just a year, he integrated so quickly into this community, him and Karen both. And he wasn't just an amazing father to myself and my brother Evan. He took Karen's children as his own. Trevor, here, and Elizabeth, with us in spirit. They both consider him their dad, which is lovely because I've inherited a whole new branch of my family that I'm just so happy to be a part of. And I see my dad, I see Doc, I see Larry in him and in her. And it's just so moving to see what he did for people, he did for these kids, including myself. I'm not sure I can truly articulate how blessed I feel to be a part of this man. And so, once again, I'd like to thank you for coming out and showing your support and being a part of this man's life.